Well, before you know it, the calendar is going to flip to January, and the Reese Senior Bowl will be right around the corner. Rob Lehocky, along with Phil Savage, the executive director of the Reese Senior Bowl. It's invitation time here in Mobile. We have 63 players who have accepted invitations to our game for the 2015 Reese Senior Bowl. And we want to kind of break down who is coming to Mobile at this point. We're going to go by position. Let's start with the offensive line, and we'll start in the middle at center with Reese Dismukes, who grew up just across the bay from here in Mobile.
Yeah, the men in the middle. We'll start with two centers, and one of them is from right here in the Mobile area from Spanish Fort. Reese Dismukes, four-year starter at Auburn, of course, has been part of this Gus Malzahn prolific offense during his career on the Plains. And then Hieronymus Grasu, the center, All-American from the University of Oregon, will be here in Mobile. And of course, he's been very effective in the Mark Helfrich system there with the Ducks.
Now jumping to the other side of the ball, defensive line, Preston Smith from Mississippi State, one of our standouts, coming here as well.
Yeah, Preston Smith, of course, has been part of this front seven in terms of the Mississippi State program having a real renaissance this year. 10 wins during the regular season. And then Danny Shelton, who some think will be the Pac-12 Defensive Player of the Year from the University of Washington, a big defensive tackle who's had a lot of production for the Huskies.
Yeah, the Huskies with potentially 3 first-rounders on that defensive squad. All right, let's jump to the other side of the ball, the running backs, and we've got Jeremy Langford from Michigan State.
Yeah, the kind of the intermediates, I call them, the running backs and linebackers. Jeremy Langford's one of our committed players so far. He's been outstanding for Michigan State. He's been a very good player there with the Spartans. And then on the flip side, at the linebacker level, Lorenzo Malden. He's a defensive end / outside linebacker. He projects to the 3-4 for the NFL teams, but he's done he's been very effective for Todd Grantham, who's the defensive coordinator with Louisville. Spent some time at the pro level and then also at the University of Georgia.
How about out wide, our wide receivers?
Yeah, the wide receivers, of course, Ty Montgomery has been a standout in the Pac-12 at Stanford University. This might be the best set of wide receivers potentially in terms of the guys that are coming in. It's really a strong group. And of course, the guys on the other side that are going to be guarding them, about Senquez Golson, 9 interceptions for the Ole Miss Rebels this year. And then Ifo Ekprealamu, the corner from Oregon, again, another Oregon Duck, a senior, elected to go back for his final year, and he's played very well for them this season.
Just looking at this group overall, we have 63, as I mentioned, who have accepted invitations so far. We have a few more out there at this point, and we'll be throwing some more out there to some of the players around the country. But what groups do you like so far in terms of position groups? Where's the strength this year?
Yeah, I think positions of strength, I mentioned the wide receivers. I mean, we invited 15, 16 wide receivers, could have invited 25. I mean, I think it really goes that deep. And of course, in this era of the spread offense, sure, everybody seems to have at least one good player catching passes for them. And then I think that always, typically, offensive line, defensive line, those players usually come back for their senior year. So between a Danny Shelton and a Louis Trinca-Passat and Carl Davis from the University of Iowa. Then you consider on the offensive line Ty Sombrello from Colorado State, Rob Havenstein from Wisconsin. Those are all players that elected to stay in school for one more year. So the offensive line, defensive line competition should be very keen come late January.